Hello everyone and welcome to another match reaction on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy and I'm your host for this evening. Not the result we wanted as the game ended all square between Arsenal and Liverpool, but considering how Liverpool performed today, a point might have been the fair result. So let's discuss the key moments of the game. But before we begin, just a reminder, this is a call-in show. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, a link is pinned in the live chat. So feel free to hit the link and I will get you on later on after the player ratings. So let's talk about the first half. Terrible start for Liverpool as they concede a goal very early on. Ben White, who was playing centre-back today, pings a lovely ball over the Liverpool defence. Saka is one-on-one against Robertson, leaves him for dead and hits a lethal shot into the back of the net. No chance for Kelleher to make that save as the shot was hit very sweetly. Liverpool try to respond as Saka gives the ball away as he was trying to pass to Marino. Salah tries to capitalize and hits a first-time shot, but unfortunately he drags it wide. But Liverpool get the equalizer as Trent hits a fantastic corner kick. Luis Diaz flicks the ball behind him towards Van Dijk on the near post, and he heads the ball into the goal from very close range to make it 1-1. Arsenal tried to extend their lead as they produced a number of attacks. Marino has a fantastic opportunity in front of goal from a Declan Rice free kick, but he misses the target completely. Poor execution on that shot as that was a huge opportunity for Arsenal. Saka and Martinelli both have shots from distance but failed to hit the target. But eventually they struck gold minutes just before half-time. Another set piece as Declan Rice hits a fantastic free kick and Marino makes up for his miss earlier on with a neat finish to make it 2-1. And to be honest with you, at that time, I thought the goal was coming from Arsenal as they were producing a lot of attacks and they also had a lot of set pieces where they were getting closer and closer. So it was only a matter of time before they actually got one in the end. In that sort of moment, I would say poor defending from Liverpool, who for me just needed to do better, needed to hold out a couple more minutes before the halftime whistle. In the second half, I was quite surprised that Arne Slot didn't make any substitutions whatsoever, as I feel like tactically we needed to switch up from a defensive and attacking point of view. But Liverpool did have a very positive start in the opening minutes as Trent Alexander-Arnold has an early effort towards goal, but unfortunately his long shot misses the target and goes wide. Arne Slot eventually does make a few changes around the hour mark as he brings on Szoboszlai, Tsimikas and Cody Gakpo. Szoboszlai gets involved right away as he has a shot outside the box, but he unfortunately scuffs it wide. No real conviction in that shot there. But then moments later, Jones has a fantastic opportunity with a half volley, but it was blocked away by Partey. Arsenal thought they got the third goal as they hit the back of the net. This was when Havertz went through on goal, but the referee had already blown the whistle as Szoboszlai was fouled by Kyrgios in the build-up. Liverpool finally got the vital equalizer 10 minutes before full time as Trent hits a sublime pass to split the Arsenal defence. Núñez is attacking the right channel. He squares it to Mohamed Salah, and Mohamed Salah finishes it clinically in the bottom corner. Overall, let's keep it 100. A disappointing performance from Liverpool, as this was a huge opportunity to take advantage of an Arsenal team that were missing a couple of key players like Saliba and Odegaard. But taking into consideration in terms of how we played today, I'm so, I'm pleased that we got something out of the game. So I'll be happy to take that point from Arsenal, as I feel like they were by far the better team, especially in the first half. They had a lot of attacks, and probably looked the better team all round. But having said that, I think the first half was definitely there. They were really good in the first half. In the second half, I think they dropped off a little bit, and Liverpool definitely showed a better account of themselves in the second half. But I don't feel like Liverpool did enough to get the win, and I don't think they would have deserved it. If we did get the win, then obviously I'll be shameless on screen right now, but I don't think it was deserved. Also, from a coaching point of view, I think Arne Slot made a couple of mistakes with regards to lineups and substitutions. So the first one was the lineup where I personally would have started Sobozlai uh, in place of McAllister, and that's what I mentioned in my match preview a few days ago. For me, McAllister doesn't look fully fit, and I feel like in this fixture, we needed a player of Sobozlai's presence where his high press would have been so vital in terms of how we were set up in the first half. It would give us a different energy in that midfield. And I feel like today we saw what he brings to the table. A lot of fans have a lot to say about Szoboszlai in terms of his goal and assist ratio, but you've got to look at what he contributes to the team. We definitely lacked energy in that middle of that park. And I feel like he was definitely missed in the first half. And also, in terms of the second half, as I mentioned previously, I was very surprised that Armstrong didn't make any changes. One change that I definitely would have done was taken off Robertson right away. I would have put on Joe Gomez rather than Simicast. At that stage, I felt like we needed a bit more of a defensive-minded defender to stop the runs of their midfield, like Saka and Marino, who drifted towards those kind of sides at times. So I felt like we needed someone a bit more of a defensive approach. Simicast, to be fair, did really well when he came on. So, he did what was expected of him. But at that stage, I really wanted us to make sure that Saka wasn't having another free run. But thankfully for us, Saka was MIA in the second half. I didn't really see much of him. He only made one or two decent passes that stood out, but he was definitely quiet. And I think he probably used up all his energy in the first half anyway. So in the end, I think we got the draw, we got the result. Tactically, I don't think we controlled the game at all, which is a bit of a surprise. That is what Arne Slot is after. And today we decided to play a lot of long balls, which was a little bit strange, not the tactic we normally deploy. And despite that, we didn't really get our attackers involved as much. But I'll elaborate on the performances individually very shortly. But look, I would say on paper, if you'd give us the option of having a draw beforehand, we would have accepted it. But I just feel like we expected a bit more, considering how Liverpool have played so far this season. But look at their perspective. I think Arsenal may feel very frustrated that they didn't get the win today because they produced a lot of chances. They didn't have all of their key players either in their team. So I mean, both teams will, feel disappointed today that we have to share the point. But if you look at the performances altogether, it might be a fair reflection of how the game panned out. So that's my review of the game. Let's move on and do the player ratings. So we'll start with the goalkeeper, and that is Kelleher. Now, Kelleher didn't really put a foot wrong today, if I'm being honest, but at the same time, he wasn't very active in terms of producing any saves or anything to that nature. In terms of distribution, he did a decent job today. A couple of moments where he tried to skill out one of the players. I think it was Havertz, and definitely playing with fire as he went past him. But general play was decent. Had a solid performance. I don't think it was great, and I don't think it was bad either. So for me, he gets a solid score of 7 out of 10. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I think he had a good game, but that was on the basis of more of his attacking influence more than anything else. Defensively, I don't think he got cooked or anything to that nature by Martinelli, but Martinelli had a lot of the ball and got past him quite a few times. Thankfully, in terms of end product, Martinelli wasn't able to produce, but on any other given day, that his advanced positions could have hurt us. Konate did amazingly well to cover Trent on several occasions, so he had a bit of a protector whenever he went forward. But in terms of his general output or from a more attacking point of view, he definitely played a part in both of the goals. The first was a corner kick, which was flicked over by Diaz, and then Van Dijk headed from close range. And the second one, fantastic pass, sublime pass from Trent Alexander-Arnold to split the centre back and left back open, and then that led to Nunez squaring it for Salah, and then Salah finishing with a nice clinical finish. So you have to give Trent his flowers in terms of his output today. Defensively, I don't think he was bad, but I probably just expected a bit more because I feel like he's been really good in the last 2-3 weeks with regards to his defensive displays. So in terms of his performance today, I'm going to give him. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. I think his attacking play definitely helped Liverpool get something out today. Konate, wow, he was fantastic today. Phenomenal. Not a lot of words that I can describe him. He was really good. In the air, so dominant. And Martinelli just couldn't get past him. Every time he'd go past Trent, he thought, oh, he's through on goal, his eyes lit up. And then Konate would stop him like he was a brick wall. Like he just couldn't get past him whatsoever. So for me, such a solid performance today. And long may it continue. He's been one of our top performing centre backs this season. Been very, very impressed with his overall game. His passing's improved as well. He's not wasteful in possession, not as erratic as he has been in previous years. A little bit more calm and composed when on the ball. So no, a very, very good performance from Konate. So for me, he gets a 9 out of 10. Van Dijk for me also had a good performance today. One thing I just want to kind of point out is, if you watch the game on Sky Sports today, Gary Neville, I shouldn't really give him too much airtime, but he talks absolute nonsense. He tried to make it seem like Van Dijk was at fault for the first goal, which is ludicrous because he was nowhere near that first goal. That was a one-on-one duel between Robertson and Saka. Robertson failed miserably, and Saka took advantage and smashed the ball into the back of the net. It had nothing to do with any other player around that pitch because it was just those two guys and Kelleher in the end that were involved. So I don't know what his problem is. I always feel like he wants to put people under the bus. With Liverpool, he always wants to put us under the bus. Let's be brutally honest. He was pretty much acting like an Arsenal fan today. So maybe a hidden fan there for all we know. But just kept on trying to make it seem like it was Virgil van Dijk's fault for the first goal and the second one as well, where his foot put Marino onside, and it was such a marginal thing. At the time, I didn't think it was offside. I did think it was offside, but looking back, maybe you gave the lines that VAR produced the benefit of the doubt, but in the end, you can't really blame a player for being sort of inches away from an offside decision. I think that's a bit over the top, if you want to be brutally honest. So looking at his individual performance today, I thought it was really good. Won a lot of his aerial duels, decent on the ball. Some of his long passes weren't as great as he normally is, but then again, we're talking about someone that has an amazing passing range, and 9 out of 10, he always gets it right. So when he doesn't get that 1 or 2 odd pass, you feel like he hasn't done it to his high level, because that is the way he plays nowadays. So for me, I was very impressed with his performance. I thought he was solid today, despite us conceding the 2 goals. The first one was an individual error from the left back, and then the second one, it was a good set piece. maybe better defending collectively rather than pointing fingers at anyone individually. So I wouldn't go with that notion. So for me, he gets an 8.5 out of 10. Robertson, yeah, he was awful today, to say the least. Absolutely shocking. I feel like he was playing with no studs on today. He kept on slipping around. He couldn't keep up with Saka. Couldn't get grips of the game. Like, he was all over the place. Really, really poor defending from him. His attacking output was zero. He didn't really get involved. He just looked way out of his depth. Now, a lot of fans are saying, he doesn't have a long-term future at the club. I'm not going to say that with a strong uh, stance because it was very early in the season. But having said that, there are areas of his games that I feel like, maybe the years of playing week in, week out is coming back to him, where age catches up with everyone. So I do feel like he looks a bit burnt out on some occasions, and I feel like he's lost a bit of speed. His reactions aren't quite the same either. So for me, he's still a good player with experience, but I do feel like the left back position will need to be addressed next summer. It's an area that we need to sign a different type of player that can take the team forward. But that transfers is another discussion for another day. But until his performance today, he was absolutely awful. I wanted him substitute at halftime. I wanted to see Joe Gomez come on. He got substituted around the hour mark, where Tsimikas came on instead. Tsimikas did by far a better job for the 20-30 minutes camera that he made. So the rating that I'm going to give Robertson is 3 out of 10. I think I'm being a bit generous giving that score as well, to be honest. I didn't think he was that good. So that is my score for the Scottish defender there. Ryan Burke had a decent game. I don't think it was a game that he really stood out or was as great as his previous performances this season. But then again, I think he's really set the bar quite high for himself. Today, he kept things neat and tidy, but it didn't really impact the game whatsoever. So I don't feel like he deserves a high score today. But no, I can't really fault him. I don't think he made that many mistakes. It's just that the midfield just was lacking energy, and I feel like that comes from our pressing up top. And I just don't feel like as a midfield we were jointed that much. I think we lacked control, and that's something that you can't really associate. Well, you can, but we haven't. We've been very impressive when it comes to controlling games in the middle of the park. Today, it just wasn't one of those days for us. So, in terms of Gravenberch's overall performance, I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. McAllister, I don't think he had a good afternoon, to be honest with you. Gave the ball away quite a few times, picked up an early yellow card, so that may have impacted his performance going forward. Yeah, it just didn't seem on it. Wasteful possession. Didn't really get up and down the pitch too much. I know in the second half they tried to switch McAllister with Jones, but that didn't work either. So not the best of performances from McAllister, to be honest. So I'm going to give him a rating of 5 out of 10. Jones was very quiet, if I'm being brutally honest, in the first half. I don't think he got much of the ball. However, once we made those substitutions and he played in McAllister's position in the double pivot, he looked a lot better, looked a bit more natural to him. He seemed to have a spring in his step where he was, interchanging very well on the left-hand side with Gakpo and Tsimikas. So I feel like in the second half, he was a much, much better player, much improved performance from him. So, it's interesting because I feel like naturally everyone would say that the number 10 role is his position. But I feel like because of the way he's developed over the last few years under Jurgen Klopp, he's not that type of the midfield anymore. He's more of an all-rounder now, where he's has defensive responsibilities and makes sure that he controls the midfield, and he's fantastic to the holding up the ball and releasing passes correctly. Playing as a number 10, I don't think he matches what Szoboszlai brings to the pitch. Szoboszlai has an abundance of energy and has an amazing engine. Jones can do that, to an extent, but not at the level that Szoboszlai does, in my opinion. So second half, much better performance, playing in that double pivot, and I feel like that role suits him very well. He was phenomenal against Chelsea last week. I actually wanted Gravenberch and Jones to start as a double pivot in this fixture because I didn't feel like McAllister has shown a good run of forms in the last couple of games. So for me, that's a mistake from Arne Slot. But in terms of Jones' performance, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Mohamed Salah. Yes, I think he did quite well, to be fair. Not, vintage Salah or anything to that nature. I think he really tried to make an impact from an attacking point of view. He had Timber, who I won't even say got the best out of him, but it was a very interesting duel between the two players. And Timber ended up picking up an injury, maybe because he was so overworked by marking Mohamed Salah. And then the goal itself, fantastic play between Nunes and Salah, where they had to interchange positions, and then he was more in field and then converted the goal in clinical fashion. So a good performance from Mohamed Salah. Out of the attacker, probably the better one, if I'm being honest. So in terms of his rating, I'll give him 7.5. Slightly high, some may think, but I feel like he deserves that rating, and he was involved a lot more in comparison to the other attackers, and he got the crucial equaliser for us. Had there not been Mohamed Salah that got that goal, we would have been talking about defeat right now. So for me, he deserves this rating there. Diaz, not involved as much as I would have liked to have seen, to be honest with you, considering that he was up against a player that is not a right back. He was a makeshift right back today in Thomas Partey. I was a little bit disappointed with Diaz's performance. Generally, he's very direct when he's on the run. Today, he wasn't at that level. Got involved with one-on-one duels with Partey, but for me, didn't capitalize. He'd get past him, but then the next move, he would just break down. So I wasn't very impressed with his performance today. I feel like today was the day where you knew there was a weak point in that team, and that was the one where we should have capitalized. And unfortunately, due to Robertson's terrible performance, that didn't help. And then McAllister, maybe he was, covering a lot of ground, and that led to his impact being very minimal as well. So our left side was very weak today. That includes Robertson, McAllister, and Diaz. So in terms of his rating for this match, I'll give Diaz a 5 out of 10. Darwin Núñez, quite similar to Curtis Jones, in my opinion, where in the first half he was very quiet, did not get involved that much. I don't remember him doing anything. I just remember him getting a bit of a tussle with Gabriel, which seems to be a regular occurrence whenever we play Arsenal. In the second half, when the substitutions were made, he certainly improved. He was a bit more energetic, and obviously he provided the assist, so that's a plus point in terms of his overall rating today. But no, not as impactful as I wanted a bit more from Darwin, and I thought this was a great opportunity to really showcase himself and make a statement with a top performance. Unfortunately, I don't think he was able to produce that today. So for his score, I just think he was marginally better than Luis Diaz, and I'm only bumping up his score because of his assist. So I'm giving him a 5.5 because the general player, I thought he was quite poor in terms of not much going on, very quiet, didn't really get involved, but the assist definitely played a part. So that is my rating for today. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. In terms of man of the match, no huge surprise. Only one man with a decent score today, or another person alongside him, and that is Ibrahima Konate. I thought he was fantastic today. So, he's my man of the match. So what we'll do now, we'll also add in the substitutes and then give my opinion on their performance today. So it was Simicast. He came on for Robertson. And then we also have Szoboszlai on for McAllister. So I'll change the players in their correct positions very shortly. So Szoboszlai. And then we also had Cody Gakpo on for Diaz. Oh, Diaz for Gakpo. And the final substitution is Curtis Jones for Endo. Let's bring Endo. There we go. So let's start with Tsimikas. I thought it was very good when it came on, to be fair. As I mentioned previously, my choice for that left back position would have been Joe Gomez. But Tsimikas, fair play to him, did really well, really energetic on that left flank. He started off the game interchanging very well with Gakpo and Curtis Jones at the time. So I thought they were doing really well as a trio on that left hand side. Produced some decent crosses, made some crucial blocks from a defensive point of view. So overall, a very, very solid performance from Tsimikas off the bench. So I'm going to give him a score of 7 out of 10. Szoboszlai certainly had an instant impact with his pressing. Also had a shot, but he scuffed it. Didn't really have any conviction in that finish there. So definitely presented more energy in that midfield. And yeah, I think we started playing our best phase of football when Szoboszlai, Gakpo, and Tsimikas came on. So that's credit to the effort that he applied. So in terms of his performance, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Now, in terms of Gakpo, I feel like he was involved a lot more in comparison to Szoboszlai. He definitely tried to make things happen with his crossing and I didn't really have that many shots, to be fair, but mainly his crossing today. Tried to take on Partey a couple of times, so that's why I wanted for my left winger to be a bit more direct, to try and get around him. So I feel like he had a decent cameo, so I'm going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. And the final player is Endo. He only came on for about 5-10 minutes, not a huge impact on the game. I think he came on and fouled someone right away. So yeah, he was gum shield on. He was not messing about. So I'll have to just give him an average rating of 5 out of 10. So that is my player ratings. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming content, I'll be doing a Match Week 9 review. I'll cover all of the games tomorrow evening. I'll also be doing an FC25 live episode 4 of my Liverpool career mode. Last week was a bit of an embarrassing one as I had suffered a huge defeat. So I need to try and make up and do better in the next episode. So yeah, one to look out for. And then we'll also have a few more shows this week. We've got a Carabao Cup tie with Brighton. Then we're facing them in the Premier League in the same week. So back-to-back fixtures with the Seagulls. So we'll definitely do some more content later in the week. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.